Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get building. Well, I'll be the first to admit that it still has some work that needs to be done, but I love the trees on the side of the road and even these little bushes with the yellow coral back behind. I think they look really, really cool. I was going for a really manicured look, but I'm thinking that maybe I need to go back and just roughen it up a little bit, maybe add some dirt and other stuff along the side of the road, sort of like we did up in this area. But I think this is a really good start. And in this position, well, okay, it might seem a little bit strange that I left this section of bush or whatever you want to call it just ending in the middle of nowhere, but I do have plans for a massive building that's going to go here in the very near future. I know I've been teasing this for multiple episodes, but don't worry, it's coming soon. But since we're going to be working on the bridge and this road just a little bit more in the future, I'm gonna leave it here for now and move on to this section of the city, which I think is looking really, really good. Yeah, there's a big empty spot there, but we're gonna fill that today. And look at this obelisk. I honestly don't know what it is about it because it's very, very simple, but I really like the way it just sort of sticks out in the middle of the city. We've got a little bit of a pool underneath, and it just sort of gives off a bit of a Roman vibe, which, I mean, considering the triumphal arch that we made, how long has it been? Well, suffice it to say, I think they go together really well. We've also got some bits of dirt and grass sticking out in this section of the city, which I think is great. It shows that people are walking around and having a good time and selling things and, I don't know, doing whatever else you do in a city. And just like I did over there, we've got a bit of a flower bed with the coral on the inside, and I think it looks really good, giving a splash of color on the back, but this one is a little bit less manicured. We've got a pretty large variety of little types of flowers and bushes and grass, and especially the leaves. I think that really makes it look a little bit less well tended. And then the same thing on the other side along the side of this building. But I don't want to linger on this for too long because we've got a lot of stuff to get done this episode. So for just a second at the beginning of the episode, I want to fly over to the diamond emporium that we made in the last episode over in the shopping district. And here we are. You can already see the little bit of diamond poking out there, although I'm flying a little bit too fast to see it well. But let's look at this, the diamond emporium. Enter at your own risk, and I put that because, well, it's a little dangerous. Oh, this looks fantastic. I still love this build. I love the little mirror effect that we put underneath, and I love the cyan glass that's making it look like, I don't know, like you're almost standing on some ice. Yep, I'm pretty happy with it. But the reason that I came over here, and guys, this is so insanely short-sighted of me. It has been brought to my attention that you cannot mine diamonds with a gold or a copper pickaxe. Yep, I'll bet every single one of you guys already knew that, but I didn't. And really, you guys ought to cut me a little bit of slack here, because in my mind, copper and gold just seem so much more valuable than iron. I mean, an iron farm is usually one of the first things that you make, so it's pretty easy to get. And then even when you're mining, I mean, in my mind at least, you get a lot of iron, you get a little bit less copper, and you get gold very, very rarely. I mean, I get it. Copper and gold, they're both softer metals than iron, so I guess it makes sense that they shouldn't be able to mine diamonds, but like, if I mine this diamond with the copper, does it actually come back? Oh, it just disappears. Yep, that's 9 diamonds down the drain. Okay, let's put this one here, and I'm gonna have to get more diamonds to put this one back on top so we can maintain the mirror effect. Oh, wow, I'm stupid. But anyway, all of this to say that I need to come up with a slightly different system because the idea is for at the end of this event. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, just go watch the last episode. I promise it's really good. But at the end of the build competition that I'm doing, people are going to be able to take one of these pickaxes and then use it to mine all of the diamonds in this diamond emporium. I think the concept is solid. I just need to rethink having the gold and the copper. But I'm going to do that another time because we've got so much building to get done in the city, and I really hope I can fly out of here. And I did fly out, so let's get back to building. Maybe I ought to put a lid on this finally. And that's exactly what I did. Have you ever had something in your life that needed to be done eventually, but you kept putting it off even though it really wouldn't be that difficult to do or even take that long? Well, this was one of those, and honestly, you guys should be proud of me because I even took the time to light up the interior to prevent creepers from dropping on future me's head. Then it was on to the continuation of the garden wall. I like the idea of it continuing all the way up the side of the building, but I wanted it to be a little bit less wild, so I made sure to put a nice border of cherry wood on either side. That being said, it felt like it was a little bit too stark of a border, so I tried to soften it up a bit with some muddy mangrove roots, and I think that did the trick. Finally, I bit the bullet and decided to start doing something about these dark, monster-infested streets by adding some street lamps on either side of the road. You know, considering how much better this makes everything look, it's almost crazy to think how low effort this kind of thing is. I mean, at a fundamental level, all we did is add a little bit of variation into the road, change up some of the plants, add some mossy cobble back behind, but just that tiny bit of effort really changes things. I also really like these street lamps that we put in, and I'll bet it's not too difficult to figure out where I got inspiration from. I'm really happy with how this big mechanical crane type contraption up here turned out. I mean, it's a little bit bulky, but I think it makes it feel like it's hiding some kind of mechanical gears or something that's inside. And when you look at the street lamps as well, they've got like this a little bit bulky feel, like there's something inside there working. This is also the first time in a really long time that I've used these redstone lamps, and I think they look really good in this specific situation. And I've even thought about maybe going in and using like a daylight sensor to make them turn off during the day, but I'm not going to quite worry about that yet. The thing that I really want to worry about is right behind me. With this road and the buildings on either side, I've tried to do a really good job of preserving the view of Trozo's base back behind, but there's still a really big empty spot that we need to fill, and I've got a really good idea for what I can put here. You see how the two roads are branching off to either side? Well, I think we can cram a building into this little space. This is going to be one of the most important buildings in the city because along with the green one across the street, it's going to frame the entrance to Trozo's base off in the distance. To that end, I want something colorful and eye-catching in a similar vein to the green one. So we're gonna start with some mangrove wood. With the windows in, you can probably start to see where the inspiration for this build came from, but now that we have the shape, I want to start giving it some striking highlights. I'll add some really basic shading with netherrack, and then separate out the bottom of the build using blackstone. One really underrated way to add color to a build is with lanterns, particularly in this one where the yellow contrasts really well with the rest of the build palette. And now we just put in some final details. And oh boy, does this building shine at night. And well, maybe it shines a little bit too much, although I think a big part of it is that none of these other buildings are lit up. I'm gonna have to take care of that at some point. But before I talk too much about this watermelon of a build, I got a message from Mystic Vortex asking me for a little help with some trees. I'm gonna say what I just said all over again because I wasn't recording yet. So, take 2. Mystic, so you want to learn how to make a pine tree?
Yes, Purple, yes.
Alright, well, you have come to the right place because I kind of, sort of, a little bit know what I'm doing. But what you gotta do is you start with a tree trunk.
Wow.
You see this? This baby is gonna turn into a tree eventually. Great, right? Alright, so we're almost done actually. All we gotta do is add some leaves. We're just gonna throw in, let's just go like 4. We can add some on the outside and like to make like a little bit of a layer up above, maybe a 2 down below, and then we'll skip a layer. We'll go out 3, make out some leaves like this, add 1 layer down below. We'll go up, we'll go 2, make 1 layer down below, make this just a little bit taller, add 1 down below, and then all the way to the top, and boom, you've got yourself a tree.
We got tree at home.
All right, so this is like the Christmas tree version, and personally, I'm not like a super big fan of this, to be completely honest. Although it does fit in certain circumstances. All right, so this is example number 1. Example number 2, we're gonna do the same thing. Oh yeah, no, I'm making 4. Sorry. Let me just get rid of these real fast. I forgot to get rid of my symmetry. So let's just make that and make another trunk. All right, so we've got another trunk. All we're gonna do with this one is we're gonna treat this like it's a normal tree. Because you know with a normal tree, you just like get a bunch of these and sort of build them out. And then you put like leaves on top of them and you go like that. Well, all we're gonna do is basically what you would do with a normal tree, but we're just gonna be a little bit more straight up in the air, if that makes sense. We're gonna keep things really close to the tree. So we'll just mark out, okay, I wanna have a branch here, branch there, branch there, branch here, and just kind of get them so that they're sort of generally branched out, and then we can start making them a little bit bigger. The ones on the bottom should be a little bit longer than the ones at the top, so like that one at the top I'll just leave as a wall.
2 things I have never ever used in a tree.
Really? Wait, really?
Yeah, my trees are made up of the log and leaves, maybe 2 different types of leaves as well.
Oh, come on, man. No. Okay, we're doing things the right way around here. We're doing things the way that the Minecraft gods intended.
Yeah, but then again, I don't build trees. This is why I come to you, Purple.
No, you've come to the right place. We're gonna teach you how to do things right. So you can see this is really basic. I'm not going into too much detail here, but we're just putting some little tiny branches going out.
Not too much detail, he says. We have already 4 different blocks.
Okay, don't worry. Once we get this in here, I will explain a little bit more.
Okay.
So we're just going to come in here and we're gonna place down leaves on either side. And you can cut the video because it's gonna take just a second. Blah blah blah. Maybe you speed this up, make a little bit of a time lapse out of it. It's your decision. You can do whatever. You can even use the current audio that I'm speaking right now if you really want to. I don't care.
I think this episode is already like 40 minutes long.
Okay, well then maybe speeding this up is the best way to go. So we've got some leaves. This looks okay, but what I like to do with these is you don't want to have every single branch completely covered. What is better is if you just have like maybe half covered. So you see, like I start with 3, 6, 9, 10, and I'll just take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then like here I'll take out 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, you know, usually I'm a little more deliberate about it, but since we're just making a really simple explanatory tree, so you see now we're getting to more of a tree shape, and like I can look at it and think, okay, this needs to be a little bit longer. Need to make sure I put some leaves on the bottoms, of course. And now you're starting to get like a tree, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's looking fine, but we can go to the next level.
I'm scared.
All right, so let's build up a tree trunk again, but this time let's make it a little bit more, you know, pointy at the top. That's our first step. Okay, so we're gonna bring in some walls. Yeah, more tree-y. That's definitely the word. And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna take these walls and we're gonna use them to represent our branches. One thing that I will mention, don't try to attach walls to fences because it doesn't work. I'm sure you already know that. But if you want to do that, just use a fence gate because they do connect. And we're just gonna keep adding in branches like so. And go a little bit bigger at the bottom, maybe even add like a fence gate underneath it to go out 4 wide. All right, so now we've got ourselves a tree. We can add in the leaves, and if you want to help me add the leaves, that would be appreciated. So it's looking not too bad. Now, remember what we did with the last one? We're just gonna take out about like 40-ish% of the leaves. So you can just start going through, and when I do this, I like to do it semi-randomly. And by semi-randomly, I mean not exactly random, because if you just do it completely randomly, then you'll have like weird holes and weird areas where there are a lot of leaves. All right, and I'd say we're good enough. Like, I mean, we're not trying to make perfect trees, but you see, we're getting to look a little bit better. Say if I were to do this again, probably something I would do is I would balance out with another branch over here because it looks a little bit empty there. Maybe like on this side. You what?
It's a bit lopsided.
Yeah. It's a bit lopsided, and that's something that you can fix later on once you've got the branches in. Like maybe at the top, I want to add something else up, like a little bit over here. But for the most part, you see the vision, right?
Yeah.
We then spent the next 15 minutes going over and practicing those techniques. All right. So did you get rid of some of the leaves over on this side?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't like how empty it got, so I've placed them back in.
I'm gonna get rid of just a couple more, if that's okay with you.
Oh yeah.
I think, especially with pine trees, they look better with fewer leaves than they do with more leaves, because being able to see the wood and whatever other blocks you used underneath is a big draw. Overall, I spent almost an hour and a half with Mystic, and we practiced different sizes and shapes of trees, and if you want to see more of that, you should go check out Mystic's channel. This view is rapidly turning into one of my favorite views in this entire base, which is honestly saying a lot considering we've got some pretty awesome views. I talked pretty briefly about it earlier, but I feel like this is a really important section of the base just because it's the transition between my base and then Trozo's base down below. And since Trozo has been working so hard over here making his incredible forest and big monolith, I want to make sure that I do this transition justice. And I've really put a lot of thought into how exactly I'm doing this. For example, all 3 of these buildings that are on the side here are just a little bit more grayscale, or maybe brown scale is the better word. Just generally not as colorful as the 2 on the end, which are really, really bright and really draw your eye. The big cyclone up above is always visible above the roofs. You can see the monument in the background, and even like the trees, you can see them sticking up over top of this little garden that we have in the center. And considering how little Trozo and I have talked about this transition, I feel like it's really coming together quite smoothly. I'll probably have 1 or 2 more small buildings down here as we transition from this big city road down to that tiny little rickety bridge. But for the most part, this is pretty much it. Oh, and I completely forgot to mention the inspiration for this build, and I imagine this is pretty obvious to a lot of people, but this was inspired by a building in New York City, and it's just, it's got a name. I can't think of the name right now, but it's just got like a really flat sort of, oh, let me just look it up real fast. Oh, it's called the Flatiron Building. That's pretty on the nose. But if you just look up a picture of that building, I think you'll be able to see we've just got these little windows on the end, and then the rest of the building sort of comes out a little bit along the sides, and I just think it's got a really cool profile, and it's something that I'm really glad that we have here in the city now. You'll have to let me know what you think about this in general. Maybe I went a little bit too overboard with the colors, but overall, I'm actually pretty happy with it. When you look at it from a bit of a distance, I feel like it looks like a watermelon slice. Like, it's got the shape, it's got the color, and even like the little green bits feel a little bit like the rind of a watermelon. Maybe the lanterns are the seeds. I don't know, just in my head, I keep calling this the watermelon building, and I don't know, I think it kind of suits it. But we are approaching the end of the video, and I don't want to just ramble on for minutes at a time. I will mention that next episode, I think we are finally gonna get started on this massive building that I have planned here. And this is really exciting because this has been in my head for a very long time. And between you and me, I think this might be my last mega project on this server. Yeah, this thing is going to be huge. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and I'll see you in the next episode.